Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today we're coming to you from Eterna City where the Devons have a huge task ahead of them as they are trying to take down the Montenevera Silphs, but the Silphs are coming off their first loss of the season and the Devons want to capitalize as they have never taken down the ghost type team, whereas these Montenevera Silphs, they are looking for vengeance and the Devons got further than them last season, so they want to send a message. And with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the grass types? Will it be the ghost types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And starting out for the Montenevera Silphs, it is going to be their Terrestrial draftee Spidops alongside Poltergeist, their first draftee of this season, but it is going to be Jumpluff and Bellossom starting out for the Eterna Devons. As we get down into the action, Jumpluff immediately goes with the power trick. It is going to switch its attack and defense as it is much more of a speedy Pokemon. Poltergeist is going to go for that super effective Leech Life onto Bellossom. No need to restore any health, it's still at full strength as Bellossom does respond with the coil. It is going to boost that physical attack that's base 80 as well as that physical defense and its accuracy. We'll see if it can capitalize on that boosted accuracy as we get the Fairy Lock from Spidops, making it so no one can run away during the next turn, but they are not looking to run anywhere from this matchup as Jumpluff sets up for the Curse. It is going to lower its speed now, which it surely can manage to do, but it's boosting that physical attack once again as well as that physical defense even more. Poltergeist, however, is going with the Amnesia. A lot of setup here in the early stages as it greatly boosts that 114 special defense. Bellossom though, with the U-turn now going on the offensive with that not very effective move, and it does activate that weak armor of Poltergeist, lowering that physical defense, but it does boost that speed a great deal. And we see Bellossom going back to the bench, and out in its place it is going to be Breloom entering the contest as Spidops goes for the heal bell, and that bell will chime, but there's no status condition on Poltergeist, so that is going to fail as Poltergeist now with the speed control tries for the Dark Void, but a Dark Presence prevents that from happening, allowing Breloom to try and capitalize with a U-turn of its own. It goes for Spidops again, not very effective, but it will now go back to the bench. We will be seeing Bellossom return to the battlefield as Jumpluff follows it up with the Blast Burn, but that is avoided by Poltergeist, allowing Spidops to try and capitalize by going for its own Curse. Much different for the ghost type, it is going to cut its own health down, but it puts this Curse onto Bellossom that is going to progressively afflict it, as we see happening here on the field right now. Poltergeist with the follow-up Stone Edge onto Bellossom, putting it into knockout range. Jumpluff, however, does respond with the Smog, but this is once again avoided, this time by Spidops. Bellossom, however, looking to do their part, goes for the entrainment on to Spidops, ridding Spidops of that Insomnia ability, giving it the heal ability instead. And Spidops with the response going for the Seed Bomb. This won't be very effective onto Jumpluff, doing very little damage, but this Curse is going to take Bellossom off the field. And with that, the Silphs have taken the early game lead as Breloom is returning to the match. Poltergeist still with that speed control and meets it with the Astonish, getting that critical play as well, but Breloom does respond with the Giga Drain, not actually doing that much damage there to Poltergeist, but it does get some of its own health refilled here, draining it from Poltergeist. And Jumpluff with the follow-up going for the Mach Punch, but it phases straight through Spidops, who's able to turn around, and Spidops does go for the Lumina Crash. This will be super effective onto Breloom, lowering its special defense a great deal in the process as well, but Breloom is going to chow down, restoring its health here with that Citrus Berry. Poltergeist, however, does go with the Mud Slap. They're continuing to focus their attention onto Breloom, even though that wasn't very effective. It does lower the accuracy of the fighting grass type, who does respond with an attack order onto Poltergeist. Not very effective, but gets in some good damage. Once again, activating that weak armor of Poltergeist, boosting that speed even more, but it's got speed control. It does lower that defense. Jumpluff could capitalize. It goes with the Fiery Dance on to Poltergeist, putting it into knockout range, but it doesn't actually do that much damage as Spidops goes for the Guillotine, but that is avoided here. Poltergeist, however, looking to do their part, sets up a stockpile. They are going to boost those defensive stats, both that physical defense and boosting that special defense even more. However, it does still have a lowered physical defense here as the Vine Whip from Breloom is avoided by Poltergeist. You have to think that would have taken it off the board. Jumpluff setting up for the Solar Beam. It is going to absorb the light on this turn. We'll see if Spidops can target it here. It goes with the Shadow Force instead, so it's going to vanish instantly from the field. Jumpluff will need to focus in on Poltergeist, but Poltergeist first going for the Mudslap once again. This time it goes for Jumpluff, who is immune thanks to that Flying type, allowing Breloom to go with the Psybeam, but it goes for Spidops, who is still vanished from the field. The Solar Beam, however, will be finished off by Jumpluff on to Poltergeist, who hangs on by a thread, allowing the Shadow Force to be finished off by Spidops to take Breloom out of this match with a fantastic connection, embracing that Ghost typing. It is going to be Brambleghast entering for the Eterna Devons, their own part Ghost type. The Tail Whip from Poltergeist is going to lower the physical defenses of both Jumpluff and Brambleghast here, but Brambleghast is going to respond with the Razor Shell to get that easy elimination, finally taking Poltergeist out of this match, getting the first one for the Devons, and Jumpluff with the follow-up, setting up the Future Sight on to Spidops here, foreseeing that attack, but Spidops is going to respond with the Freeze Dry, super effective on its fellow Ghost type, getting in fantastic damage as it is now going to be joined by Houndstone. Brambleghast with the speed control, going with the Psych Up. There have been no stat changes though for Houndstone, so that is a wasted opportunity as Houndstone does respond with the Cross Chop, getting in some good damage for a not very effective move onto Jumpluff thanks to that critical play, and Jumpluff is going to respond with the Spin Out onto Spidops, who also hangs on by a thread. Jumpluff can just not get an elimination right now as Spidops does respond with the Swallow, but it's not the one that went for the stockpile earlier. That was Poltergeist. This allows Brambleghast to go for the Noble Roar on to Spidops, lowering that physical attack instead of going for the easy elimination. It also lowers that special attack. This gives the opportunity for Houndstone to go with the Yawn onto Jumpluff, but as Jumpluff is now going to grow drowsy on the field, and Spidops with the follow-up going with the Coaching. This is going to boost those physical stats of Houndstone that are 101 and 100 in the attack and defense respectively. Jumpluff, however, does go with the Eerie Impulse. They still have not taken Spidops off the field, instead cutting into that special attack even more, but now it takes the Future Sight attack and Spidops is eliminated. And we're now down to a 4v4 contest as the Silphs send out Mimikyu in that disguise as it immediately goes for a stockpile. We did see this earlier. We'll see if it goes for a Swallow, as it is going to boost those defensive stats, both physical and special, including that 105 special defense, but Brambleghast does respond by going for the Psy Shield Bash, not doing much damage there to Houndstone, but it boosts its own defense in the process as Houndstone does respond with the Acrobatics to take Jumpluff out of this match with that super effective move, putting the Silphs back in front, and the Devons now sending out Vileplume, making their debut in the PokeType League VGC. The Flatter from Mimikyu onto Brambleghast is going to boost that special attack, but it is going to leave it in a confused state, and Brambleghast is much more of a physical attacker. It will need to shake off this confusion though, or it will be doing damage to itself, and it is able to shake off the confusion going with the Tar Shot onto Houndstone. This is going to make it weaker to fire type moves, but it also lowers its speed in the process. We'll see if Vileplume can outspeed it, and that it can, as it is going to go with the Volt Switch onto Houndstone, getting some good damage, and it's going to go back to the bench in the process, as out in its place is going to be Sunflora, the last Pokemon for the Eterna Devons, who immediately is met with the Leech Life, and it is taken down on the word go with the one-hit wonder. Sunflora has been shut out entirely of this match as Houndstone restores some of its health. Vileplume re-enters the match. Mimikyu with the Topsy-Turvy. It is going to reverse all invert all stat changes that have been performed by Brambleghast, who is still in a confused state. So now it's actually got a lowered special attack as it once again shakes off the confusion, going for the Stun Spore, but that is going to be avoided by Houndstone. Vileplume, however, looking to do their part, goes with the Night Days. This is going to break that disguise of Mimikyu, who is revealed to be a Mimikyu, as Houndstone, though, with the Power Swap on to Vileplume, switching all changes to their attack and special attack, but it's Houndstone with the attack boost that's just given to Vileplume as the Dire Claw leaves Brambleghast with that paralysis, so that's going to be slowed down now as well thanks to Mimikyu, but Brambleghast is going to chow down on its Lancer Berry. It is getting pumped as Vileplume with the Corrosive Gas now. and that fails on its teammate, but it does burn up that Citrus Berry and Enigma Berry of Mimikyu and Houndstone respectively, as Houndstone is going to go for the Stone Axe onto Volplum, getting some good damage there, but that effect spore of Volplum has been activated and Houndstone is now asleep, snoozing away on the field. Those entry hazards, those floating stones on the side of the Devons don't matter, they've got an empty bench, as Bramblecast needs to shake off this confusion, but it is unsuccessful, taking itself out of this match after being set up with that swagger. Volplum is all by itself. There's still 4 members of the Silphs remaining. The Burning Bulwark is set up by Mimikyu here, so it is going to protect itself as Volplum does go with the Hydro Pump on the sleeping Houndstone, getting some good damage there as Houndstone is still snoozing away this ghostly pupper, leaving Mimikyu to have to do the work, who is going to go with the Rapid Spin, getting some good chip damage onto Volplum, avoiding the effect spore, boosting its own speed in the process. Volplum does respond though with the Magical Leaf, getting in some good chip damage of its own onto Mimikyu as Houndstone is still fast asleep. Volplum needs to get some eliminations, but Mimikyu with the superpower onto Volplum, not very effective, but gets that critical play and once again avoids the effect spore. It does lower its own attack and defense in the process, though this could open the door for Volplum to capitalize. It goes with the Psycho Boost, going with this special attack, getting in some more good damage there onto Mimikyu, but it lowers its own special attack in the process, and still Houndstone is fast asleep, snoring away. That is a very loud snoring dog, as Mimikyu with the head smash onto Volplum takes it out of this match, taking care of the handiwork whilst Houndstone is asleep. And it does take that recall damage, but I do not think it cares because the Montenevera Silphs are back to their winning ways, and after dropping down to second, they have moved themselves back to the top of the leaderboard as they continue this vengeance tour, and next round they are going up against the Hammerlock Draconids, whereas for the Devons next round they will be going up against the Goldenrod Guild. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.